Flat Earth Day is every day. Flat Earth Day is every day.
ODD-TV.
Have you ever tried changing your path, doing the right thing, be a better man, be a better woman, only to find out that you're gonna get shit on at each turn? It's disheartening. It kind of makes you want to go back to your own way. Like, fuck it. Why should I try to be good when there's nothing left to do in this world? I'm on my way back down, keep sinking a little deeper, and I'm screaming, fuck the world, sticking up my middle finger. I know what's going on here, and I just don't belong here. I'm in my own personal hell, and it's just too damn hot here. But no, not now and not here. Never see me going out like a punk, but no matter how hard I try to fly, I feel trapped in the box where time is stuck. I still try my luck like a mighty duck. You can't win if you don't even play the game, but that's just it. You play and play, and things just always stay the same. And everybody's just so fake and lame. Men and women ain't built like they used to be, and it's not just about how humans are stupid, but we are being controlled ruthlessly. And truthfully, we need a mutiny, but nobody's ready to rise up. It's a lost tradition, and I'm on a mission, but the clock is ticking. Now time's up, and time's up, but that's just not enough in all totality. The rulers have you sidetracked while they hijack your reality. Feel like I'm about to drown, and I just have to frown. No laughing matter, I feel my passion from crashing down. I'm on my way down, 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 I'm on my way back down, I'm on my way down, I'm on my way down. I used to have a fear of falling, but now I hear it calling, and it's appalling. My spirit's longing, I feel it crawling. It's really haunting, my mind's dissolving to nothingness, and it's exhausting. I never thought I'd be wanting this, but I'm in love with this. I kind of crave the pain, the way these weak-minded cowards just love to say my name. These people don't even know me, homie. They probably couldn't even walk a block in my shoes. People like to keep me on the bottom where it's rotten and I'm lost and forgotten, but it's not what I choose. I really want to tell you that I'm not gonna lose, but I don't have a clue as I fall in this pit. The same motherfuckers that be acting all cool are the same motherfuckers that be talking that shit. Stop it now, quick, get up off of my dick. Don't tell me you're being friendly, then switch up like that and stab me in the back, cause you are just pretending. I'll never let them get me. Keep my eyes wide and stay up. Never sleep again, my friend, and try to get people to wake up. But this shit's so insane now. The pain and hatred brings down. I was on my way up, but now I'm on my way back down. I'm on my way 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 back down. I'm on my way 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 back down. I'm on my way down.
Fuck yeah, ODD. New ODD. Don't avoid confrontation. Also, shout out to Puff Host. Puff Host got a hold of me earlier. This band, and actually, I'll play their song right now, called Patterns. I would love to play the video, but I don't feel like getting sniped, so I'll just give you the link to it.
feeling sexy like the predator. No, it's just a metaphor. I hope I don't regret it though. I'm just a millennial. Called up Mr. President, spoke to his apprentices. He was like, yo, Bannon, do you want to shoot some cannons? Build a wall and try to scale it. Keep the other side in Spanish. Fly a plane across the canyon, but I don't know how to land it. Don't need to panic, I've managed to get a 10 in the air on my way to making America great again. Now you decide. I don't know how to do like that. I'm spending my money 10 of a night. I try to solve all my problems, but I just make it worse. I've been seeing mornings all up in this madness. Doesn't even matter. I can't look away from it. I've been getting silent in my motion body. Some I just trapped in the pattern. I'm an avocado, guacamole condo. Spread me on your condom. Condoleezza Rice toast. Have you tried the Ghana blend? I think it's a nice one. Very real, got me good. Gotta get some medical. Probably should forget it though, even though I said it though. I don't need a PPO. You can watch me PP though. I'm a pomegranate, spread my seed and stain the planet. Orchestrate another accident, pretend I didn't plan it. I don't know how to be like that. I'm spending my money 10 hours a night. Try to solve all my problems, but I just make it worse. I've been seeing mornings all up in this madness. Doesn't even matter. I can't look away from it. I've been getting silent in my martial body. Some I just trapped in the pattern. I don't understand it. I know about the bandit. Searching on my hand while I'm choking up the planet. Tell me that you feel this. Does it make a difference? All we just trapped in the pattern.
Yeah, that was a Puff Host Patterns. Shout out to him. Check him out on YouTube. Subscribe. Also, you're gonna really appreciate this, all you people in relationships out there. Avoiding your triggers isn't healing. Healing happens when you're triggered and you're able to move through the pain, the pattern, and the story and walk your way to a different ending. Avoiding your triggers isn't healing. Healing happens when you're triggered and you're able to move through the pain, the pattern, and the story and walk your way to a different ending. Your complaints, your drama, your victim mentality, your whining, your blaming, and all of your excuses have never gotten you even a single step closer to your dreams or goals. Let go of your nonsense. Let go of the delusion that you deserve better and go earn it. When you take a woman who has been eating processed food, taking the pill, antibiotics, and maybe even a PPI, exposed to endocrine disruptors and friendly bacteria slaughtering pesticides, and you grow a baby in that womb, there's a good chance that you have created a time bomb. Throw in 70 doses of 16 neurotoxic and immunosuppressive vaccines by age 18, some formula and genetically modified and processed baby food, 4 years of plastic diapers, and Johnson's One baby wash, and Houston, we have a problem. Oh, here's a good quote. I'm not jealous. I'm territorial. Jealous is when you want something that's not yours. Territorial is protecting what's already yours. There will be men who want you, and there will be a man who deserves you. Know the difference. Be the woman who fixes another woman's crown without telling the world it was crooked. Be the woman who fixes another woman's crown without telling the world it was crooked. If you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. If you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. When you naturally have a healing aura, you attract a lot of damaged people, and having them in your life could drain your energy to the max. A reminder that it's not your job to heal everyone that enters your life. Connection doesn't care about the laws of the land. Your soul will be pulled to the place it belongs. Don't share a bed with someone who doesn't inspire you or doesn't encourage your growth. The days of saving people have passed. If you don't match my energy, we can't merge. Be mature enough to release people into their destiny, even if it no longer includes you. This is some examples of, actually, fuck it. Honestly, I don't need someone who sees the good in me. I need someone who sees the bad in me and still wants it. Well, that's kind of a shitty quote, actually. That sounds like a pathetic Marilyn Manson or Marilyn Monroe quote. Nobody is busier than a person not interested in you. I've been thinking like this since 1968, talking about it since 1980, but I never knew how it would come or what it would be. In the last few years, with the rise of a technological, a cultural artifact like the internet, I now see it. I now see how it will make its way into the world. We are building the nervous system of the human oversoul. We are individual units operating under social rules that are pushing us ever closer towards dissolving our societies. Human groups run by rules, into telepathic collectivities of some sort. We have to come to the end of our sojourn in matter. We have come to the end of our separateness. You can tell who that is. There's something wrong with your character if opportunity controls your loyalty. The basic desire to be a leader arises in people who are suffering from an inferiority complex. It does not matter whether they move into the political world or into the religious world. The will to power is an absolute indication that the man feels himself inferior to others, and he wants to prove to the world that it is not so. Learn the difference between connection and attachment. Connection gives you power. Attachment sucks the life out of you.
Jordan Patois on Tough Crowd. What was this about again? I was just we were talking about Roseby, and I was just saying that one of the things I kind of felt bad about Like, yeah, you don't regret much, but I trashed Rosie horribly. A, she was nice to me when I met her, and B, after her show, I started to like her because she was honest, she brutalized Michael Jackson. And on the very first episode of Tough Crowd, you know, Patrice knows the actual words we would do. Mine was a fatwa. Tough Crowd had a station fatwas, and mine was on Rosie O'Donnell. And this was when Janine Garofalo gave me the thumbs down. She was, her fatwa was a non-violent one. That was well, and it should be, Jimmy. That's what she's all about.
But here's show business for you. Jimmy, he likes Rosie because of like what he like because Janine Garofalo, I would trash Janine Garofalo until I met her. And I'm like, why couldn't you be as bad as I hoped you would be so I can hate you?
Oh, is that what it is?
Like me. So I could never really trash Janine. This is show business. I could easily trash Fathead, his new friend, that bubblehead Rosie O'Donnell, because I never met her.
You know, he's right. The only person that isn't like that I know is Opie. I swear to you, like, because I'm like that too. I could lay some venom out on people. And then when I meet them, it pisses me off when they're nice and different than I thought. And, you know, you talk to them, they're engaging, and then you leave going, God, I really want to hate that idiot. I don't have that in mind. And Opie,
That's happened to me a lot. I am not here to make you understand me. I am here to make you understand yourself. You have to watch your own actions, your relationships, your moods more closely. How you are when you are alone. How you are when you are with people. How you behave, how you react. Whether your reactions are past-oriented, fixed patterns of thought, or you are spontaneous, responsible. Watch all of these things. Go on watching your own mind, heart. That's what has to be understood. That is the book to be opened. You are the unopened book. Exposing your dark side does not frighten me. Hiding it does. Be a man's peace and he will run to you. Be his war and he will run from you.
he's just like, I hate you. I don't care if I get cancer and you cure it. I'm going to still hate you. The word you're looking for is soul.
Yeah. just shut you down.
Right.
It's amazing. That's why it's like to deal with Opie, you gotta like be devoid of that thing where you need something. Where you just go, hey, yo, like you can really, if you was a girl, you can sleep with Opie and look into his eyes, he can look into yours, and then he can go, oh, you know what? I hate you. I'm sorry, I was lost for a second. But I hate, but Opie will hate you not because he does, but because something just it says, you know what? I just think I should just. I'm gonna hate him.
It's something like on a genetic level. Like he will hate you.
He has to try and hate you.
Right.
He senses neediness. I know this about Oak. When he senses a neediness or a desperation for his approval, I guess there's a fraudulence to that and just sitting there. And that's what I noticed about Oak. You hate people the most. People who are pretty upfront and themselves. I there's no problem.
But Opie, he does.
I'm in the room, by the way.
I'm here. We're profiling you.
Hello, I'm here.
We're profiling you so we can see the next openings coming up. Opie, if he sees you don't need him, he'll golden handcuff you so that you'll need him. Then he can hate you for needing him. Opie will have you need him.
I've done a lot of good in my life, though, too.
I like the guy. It is what it is. See, I learned how to deal with people.
It's just an honesty. I can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered with phony.
No, I can't. You know what you are? You're like me with girls. I'll take the chance of ruining a relationship just in case she's trying to get out of pocket, you know? So it might be wrong. It might be harsh. But it's better than if I'd rather be wrong.
You'd rather throw away a potential good relationship with a girl than I think she's trying to get into my pocket. Or
so he doesn't know exactly when someone's being phony. He just goes, you know what? I'm sensing it, and I'm gonna act on it, even if the guy ain't phony.
I used to be a really nice guy and very innocent, and I got stepped on my entire life. And one day I just woke up and said, you know what? It's time to fight back. I can't take this crap anymore. I did everything right growing up. I never missed curfew, and I got the A's in school, and everyone, you know, and it got me nowhere.
Here's
what you do. People were taking advantage of me. Seriously, most of my radio career, by the way, too. I mean, I didn't make any money until 10 years ago. I've been at this over 20 years now. People took advantage of me, made me work Christmas and all this stuff year after year, and I just sat there and took it. All right, whatever you want. You know, profile? Yeah, absolutely. And then one day I said, you know what? F this. We're totally different people, but I went through like the same thing, too. I used to just dumbness. No, mine was just, I don't know. I just wanted to avoid confrontation. So I would get stepped on instead of
having to like confront something.
Now you
Actually,
super confront.
hold
now
on.
I'm super.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And I'm with Anthony on that too. I never confronted people.
Yeah.
When people would give me an attitude in stores or my personal life, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'd be like cowering and walk away like, oh my God, I don't want a scene. And then somebody snapped at me. And I'm like, you know what? No, now I'm into the scene.
You want now you profile that if you like to know that.
Go ahead. That's stuff.
You like to know that doo-doo, I will tell you.
But one thing he does that I love is like if you have a problem with Open and you work it out and you talk about it, it's like you're good. If someone goes, well, how come you did this? You'll actually go, oh yeah, I did do that. I'm sorry, man. It's not like some stubborn stick to the, which I respect that. It's not if you do something that you don't think is right and somebody mentions it to you, you're very amenable to like, oh yeah, maybe I did that. Oh, I'm sorry.
When Jimmy and I had that all-out brawl on the air, it took a 2-minute phone call to take care of the situation.
Yeah,
because I had to admit I was an ass.
But there are some grudges you hold like Simon Wiesenthal.
Well, you know. Oh yeah, that's fun.
hunting down other Florida radio hosts and then wind up in Europe in 30 years trying to get diamonds out of a fight.
Kind of fun, though. This guy's irregular, incontinent. He's got a diaper on, and they still want to drag him to justice.
Where were we though? The tangent. Oh, the Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh yeah, and what Patrice was saying, the opposite. I had the opposite thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. Where I kind of thought everybody was just trashing her, and I would always defend her. I always said that she was a decent stand-up. I never thought she was a bad stand-up. I thought she was kind of original, and people always trashed her. She's all right. And then I met her and dealt with her, and to me, she was so phony because we went to an Act 4 rehearsal. We used to do that. Remember, we would read through our Act 4s to the network, etc. So we would all see each other's Act 4s. And afterwards, she said to me at the rehearsal, she goes, do you really feel that way about Rosie? And I'm like, well, it was more her TV personality that I hated so much than who she is. I just hated the phoniness of when she was on her show. Mm-hmm. And then when I did it in front of an audience, she thumbs down me, like she couldn't believe it. It was like, you phony, you knew what I was going to say, and you're acting like you're taking
She's protecting her own.
Exactly.
Now, why wouldn't you call her out on that?
I was too nervous, first off crowd. I could be honest with you, if I had to go back and do it again, I would have. But we were timed in those things, and it was the first one. It was
Yeah,
I
got you.
didn't feel confident to do it. So I trashed Rosie in the squat claw, and that was what I felt bad about. And I've never dealt with her, but she was nice to me when I did deal with her. I'm like, why did I do that? Because she was actually very cool and very.
Well, why do we like who likes us and dislike who dislikes us? Like, let's say I really like you guys, but you go, yeah, I hate Patrice.
Yeah, let's say.
But why that? Fair enough. But why would your hatred? If I really like what you give me, right? But you don't like what I do. Why is it I can't still like you? Why can't I go? You know what? Everybody hates you, but boy, I really like you.
You can. It's called the wife of an alcoholic.
I think it's healthy to like people who like you. It's a little healthy. But I'm saying, why do you have to like her because she's now likable? Why can't you still dislike her?
Dislike.
I don't know. I'm talking about me too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I trash her because she used to pick up her paper and read it.
Yeah, read it off the stool. It was always that too cool for the room delivery.
I hated that.
Yeah, stop there and try some material on you.
Yeah, some new material and pull out my little piece of paper, put it on the stool.
It's on that damn good. Let me see what's in the ball
first.
When I met her, she not only was she likable, she liked me more than I should. It's like, why are you being as like? Why are you liking me like this?
I would have no problem with you sitting there just to look at her and just go.
See, and that's what I was bringing up. I have no problem doing it. You know, a lot of similarities with the
You have a problem not doing it, actually.
Growing up and getting stepped on and stuff. Now you handle things. I still, to this day, if I see myself getting stepped on, I'll try at the beginning to handle it with diplomacy. I will try to be diplomatic. Opie, shock and
Apparently, the analema is the equation for time.
This is where it changed, by the way. When I started working with Anthony at VAB, I was still very nice, a very nice guy on the radio, very innocent, blah blah blah. It was when we went to Boston, I knew Ant and I had something, and they were still just we were my way. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this, and I changed on a dime that day.
Yeah.
That day,
so,
and I've never looked back. Never looked back. Sometimes I'll leave the studio and somebody will be saying something. I'm like, why didn't I'll beat myself up at home. Like, why didn't I confront that person?
That's the same thing with a fat man, a fat kid who liked women. Okay, and who was very nice. What was his name? His name was Little Treaty. and who used to write poems and used to give up and used to say, well, you go to this thing with me. And girls would go, beat it that way. So it's the same thing that once I decided, you know what, I'm going to take an L. That's what you decide. You're going to start taking a loss. Or you could rather take a loss than sit there and have that warp kind of bent over feeling. You know what I'm saying? Where your soul looks like Jimmy. Like it's like the way Jimmy looks. That's how your inner soul is. A little bent up, funny looking man. That's compliment. That's what happened to me. And when you think I'm hard with women, that's the same thing that happened to Opie.
I think you're crazy hard with women.
Yeah. Bert and Jersey.
I understand where it's coming from.
Bert, go.
Hey, Anthony, Opie, how you guys doing?
Good, make it fast. We're like way behind today for some reason.
No problem.
That means we're having a good show, actually. Go ahead, Bert.
Opie, what a tough guy you were when you and Anthony were talking bad about Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, I definitely folded. I folded on that one. Folded under. That's one of the only ones I ever folded on. After we trashed her, and then she heard us trashing her live on the air while she was getting ready in a makeup trail.
We were kind of taken by surprise.
And we thought it was one of our dopey listeners imitating Sarah, like, yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker's on the phone. And it was really her. And absolutely, I caved. Anthony caved. We looked like a bunch of,
Yeah,
because we couldn't believe she was actually listening.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
You're right. I mean,
This guy can't get nothing past anybody. You just gotta fight me a hypocrite. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, really?
Remember? You know what though? Hold on, this is the difference with this radio show. I saw that phone call. We didn't have to take it. We would still look like tough guys.
You manly
the guy called me out on it. I gave him shit.
Was you expecting to when she called? Did you immediately fold up when you saw it was her calling?
Yeah.
You folded up when you saw her voice.
No, absolutely.
I heard her voice.
As soon as we heard her voice, I got the nerves hit. We're like Anthony said, we were both on the whole pitch.
And there really is no way to defend against this. She goes, you guys don't understand, because we were trashing her. She
All
the MTV News
on the Ruth Fuzzy in a dress,
something, Ruth Fuzzy
face, yeah, boy's face. It was really bad.
And she called up and goes, you know what? I'm just, I'm hearing about what you're saying and everything. And she goes, and you guys on the radio just don't understand that we're people and we're out there listening and there's no reason to. And we're sitting there going, yeah. There are people.
Hey Jessica, how many times have you listened? How much of that would have been fun.
Let me take you out to some oats.
That's another thing. Please, we go out, you strap on the old feet bag. It's who you are exposing to. That's I would never think I would publish to a white lady, Matt, whatever, Rocket, wife. I did trash all day about her this year, ugly white woman. But it'd be hard for me, like Queen Latifah, I couldn't really.
No?
Not because it's like I can't really go.
You'd be giving your card away.
So let's
get back your card membership.
The best was when Opie confronted Darva Conger at the Boston Brewery, and she stormed off mad,
crying.
Mad. Yeah, I made her cry. Well, because she was trying to say that. What was that whole thing about? She was in Playboy. What was Darva Conger again? Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire?
Yeah.
And then she was claiming that she didn't. What was the whole story? I can't remember now. I know she ended up in Playboy. I'm like, look, you're just doing it to keep your fame going.
Yeah.
And she got mad.
How was this guy? We backed down with The Rock and Dice? We did not. Stop it.
Jeremy.
I'm not back down with The Rock though.
Jeremy, it's The Rock.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, so go back totally back down. When you had all those songs, you were making fun of Rock, you had Rock a Book and stuff like that.
What?
And like when he came in the studio, like you guys, like everybody clams up. And the same thing happened with Dice the first time.
No, he called out a guy that was running a racist wrestling website that we had no idea was racist. He was a fan of. It's a whole story, and he found out that this kid was in studio because we invited this kid in because he did a lot of great stuff for us as far as the wrestling part of our show went back then. And Rock called him out and said, "If you are associated with this guy, I'm out of here." And we were all just shocked, like, "What the heck is going on?" We were blindsided. And then he walked out, and then he tried to get back on the show, if you remember, and we had him on the phone, and we said, "Look, sorry, you can't be on our show anymore." And then I said something like, "Look, someday we're gonna be bigger than you, and you better remember this." And boy,
we've had The Rock back on, and we're fine with The Rock. And Dice, just stop it. Dice, have we ever back down?
No, I'm not saying that eventually, like, you guys didn't, give him the trash to his face, but like the first time he was in the studio after you guys had been bragging on him for a while, I felt like you guys were.
Oh my God damn it, Jeremy! Will you listen to the show closer?
We never laid off on the guy.
Hey, Judge, we never had a beef with Dice until he decided to start doing Howard Show again out of nowhere. We never had a beef with the guy. We goofed on him in a fun way. There was no real beef there. We were fooling around with him.
It was a gag. He kind of enjoyed the fact that we used to joke around, and people actually thought that Dice was sweeping the floor around the studio.
All those years we had Dice on, we didn't have one beef.
People don't get it. I'm tired of arguing with. Now we're just arguing with the listeners over ancient stuff.
Jersey, what's up?
Hey,
Obi. Hey, I remember the one time actually had Tommy Lee calling in, and you were getting on the case pretty bad. I guess you weren't supposed to talk about
the night before she had been on Larry King and announced that Tommy gave her hepatitis. That's what she said.
She said hepatitis. So we just happened to have Tommy Lee on the next day. Of course, we were like, "Hey, your ex was on Larry King talking some crap about you. What do you have to say about that?" "Oh, dude, he's bringing that up. He's bringing that. It's the only thing we want to talk to you about."
Because you're mentioning the P word.
Yeah. And I go, "Well, she was on Larry King last night." "Oh, that's old news." I'm like, "Old news? It was last night." And then he goes,
He accused you of giving her the
I know it pissed me off that time. He goes, "Hey, you guys were told not to talk about that." I'm like, "Oh boy, here we go." Because A, we were never told. B, he's calling us out, making us sound like we listen to people when it comes to that crap.
And did you see that?
So I called him the P word, the other P word for a female. For a female.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna let that through, but I called.
You called him a pussy. That's fine.
You can, all right.
And I called him, and he goes, "You say that again, man, I'm hanging up." And boom, without even.
Yeah, just called him.
the way it happened was, hey, if you call me a P-word one more time, I'm hanging up. And you're like, hey.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And then he hung right up, and that was it. Goodbye. Want to get off the phone and watch your pool. All right, why don't you do that, my friend?
He is shooting with so much confidence, no hesitation off that screen.
That's with his first field goal.
Nice.
And the Lakers up by 11. Little side pick and roll, Luciano on the baseline. The Lakers really closing out. Nothing on the shot clock. And that's going to be a shot clock violation.
What are you talking about? The pride Josh Hart is showing. He asks to be here. It's all about attitude at Summer League. Yes, you've got to have some skill, but if you're a second-year guy who got big-time minutes up at the big organization and you're still looking to get here, then it's huge.
Doris played 63 games for the Lakers last season. That's fifth most on the team. And we talked about it throughout the course of the week. We've all been watching what's going on, guys. When they come into the NBA, they're ready to play. Oh my goodness. It's plug and play for those guys.
Talking about championship pedigree, things building from the defensive end for Jay Wright.
Nice looking step back, halfway down and out. And that's going to be a traveling violation against Reggie Upshaw, the fourth turnover for the Clippers. Timeout.
All right, time to read some super secret knowledge. The photo drama of creation. The photo drama of creation. Science, history, philosophy. Springing from the Word of God. International Bible Students Association, 1914 copyright. The divine revelation, the Bible, is the wisdom from above, the noblest science and the best instruction. The photo drama of creation, part 1.
Shay, you're not playing today. You're resting first things first. You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, you have been pretty good so far here in Vegas, averaging 19 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. What would you say? How would you sum up your time here so far in Vegas?
I've had a really good experience. I think the biggest thing is I've gotten better each and every game. I'm more comfortable with the new style of play, so I'm feeling good about myself.
And there was some talk from your coach about your shot selection and your mindset there. What improvements do you want to make in your shot?
Just take the best shot for your team at all times. Sometimes they get a little selfish and they say, take shots like I can make, so that they're in the best interest of the team. And just remember that you should run the field.
There's a lot of different point guards, variations of point guards in today's game. So how would you describe your play?
That's some cerebral when I play. Not the most athletic or fast or shoot at the best, but I think I'm the smartest point guard there when I sit on the floor.
I kind of buried the lead.
This is 1914. The sun is 300,000 times the size of our Earth. It goes on about the sun. Our day and night are the result of the Earth's rotation on its own axis, while its motion around the sun marks our year. Planets near the sun have shorter orbits, and hence shorter years, while remote ones have longer years. Yet, yet our sun is only one of the fixed stars, of which the most up-to-date astronomical methods estimate there are 125 millions. Around each of these fixed stars undoubtedly revolves a planetary system like our own. Thus reckoned, there are 1,000 million worlds. Even this is not the limit. If we should stand upon the farthest and dimmest star, we should no doubt from there see as many more beyond. We are appalled at the greatness of the universe. The zodiacal signs illustrate various sections of the heavens visible at different seasons. Earth referred to in scripture as a firmament. Circumambient air. Circumambient air, eh? I'm gonna look this up. The expressions evening and morning and day cannot be understood to signify 24-hour days, for neither sun nor moon was visible until the fourth day. The earth was swathed in impenetrable darkness. The word day appears to any period, epoch, or, for instance, the day of temptation in the wilderness, 40 years. We follow the theory that each of the 7 days of the creative week was a period of 7,000 years. This 7 times 7,000 equals 49,000 years, ushering in a grand jubilee epoch. As one after another, the encircling rings of water and minerals approach the earth, they would spread out like a great canopy, but would not be permitted to fall upon the earth because of the circumambient air referred to in scripture as a firmament. God made the firmament in the second day, and separated the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. The strongly mineralized waters above the earth, held off by the firmament and centrifugal force greatest at the equator, gradually concentrated at the 2 poles, where later they broke and they reached the earth, forming layer after layer of materialized earth deposited by the water which rushed from both poles towards the equator. So dumb. Man. The fallen angels were cast to Tartarus, our Earth's atmosphere. Satan, a cherub angel of higher rank, is styled the Prince of Demons. They are not in some far-off place stroking fires, but keep as close to humanity as possible. Not permitted to materialize, they seek to obsess, to demonize by clairvoyance and clairaudience. The giants are the sons of the angels. Giants are the sons of the angels, eh? Sons of God and the daughters of men. Lucifer, the Prince of Demons. Abel, the first martyr. Wow, this is some pretty deep shit here. The Sons of Peace. Hmm. Knowledge shall be increased. Ooh.
Couldn't finish with the slam, but he did it. Isaac found a guy that got onto the Lakers' radar at the turn of the new year. The brain trust of the Lakers, Rob Pelinka, Jesse Buss, traveling overseas to Germany to watch him play, and kind of caught their eye and became a little bit more intriguing. They acquired him in the draft.
He's young, Mark. And he had, right before the start of this summer league, a very long trip. Remember the first night he checked in, he didn't look like he had his legs. But there's some things to like about that young man. He's aggressive, certainly on the offensive end.
He prepared for the draft in Los Angeles several weeks prior to the draft, and amazingly, the Lakers were the only team to work him out. Sounds like they might have stashed him away a little bit, or at least tried to keep him. 6-point lead. Wide open, Kings straight away. Yes. The lead back up to 9. A quiet night so far for Sindarius Thornwell of the Los Angeles Clippers. Whistle and a traveling violation.
Well, King's job endures a lot of things. He's going to just try to make a defensive play there. Let me contribute to the gross domestic product here with the 3.
Hayes. Bonga. And traveled with it.
He does that a lot. That's a product of youth, right? And he's so anxious. He's just been with the team a few days. Miles had said to me, I'm going to put him out there. He hasn't had a ton of opportunity to practice with us, but we just want to let him get some run. And he's probably traveled 4 or 5 times. His mind's going fast and his body's going fast.
He was talking about the fact that Mo Wagner, being one of his teammates, has made his transition much easier to the NBA and the early going year in Summer League. Mays, nice time underneath for Howard for the bucket. Lead back up to double figures for the Los Angeles Lakers, courtesy of a 7-0 run. Evans missing everything. Hey, the Summer League tournament continues tonight in Las Vegas on NBA TV and the ESPN app. Utah, Orlando, Mobamba. We'll give you some more on that game.
Check out Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's for big savings during our summer sale. Like select ladies shorts and tops starting at under $15. Save 25% on all in-stock totables. Plus, bring the kids for free workshops and activities.
See? Oh, dude, are you friends with the real robot? What? No, man, it's my service.
Oh, that's not awesome.
Maybe it's time for us to switch.
Switch, just like that.
Switch to Boost super reliable and super fast nationwide network and get 3 lines for $100 a month, each with unlimited gigs and 20 gigs of mobile hotspot on each line. Plus, get up to 3 free phones. Much better. There it is. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Tomorrow, highly anticipated semi. Former champions back by Nadal. Novak Djokovic. Victory captured past Wimbledon glory. Gentlemen's semi-finals. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. ESPN.
This could be you pitching to Mark Cuban, or having a TV session with the Hasselbeck brothers, or you living a day in the life of a Sports Center anchor. Bid on once-in-a-lifetime sports experiences. The ESPYs auction continues through Wednesday on the ESPN networks.
The Eiffel Tower piercing the skyline here in Las Vegas. How many times have you heard that? Back here at the MGM Resort Summer League, Los Angeles Lakers leading the Clippers. And it's Battle of Los Angeles, an 11-point margin right now. It's on Mays. A little bit strong off the glass. So it's the guys on the court, Cornwell, Evans, Rodriguez, Harris, and Delgado. For the Clippers having trouble scoring so far in this game. Thornwell with 6 points. Goes inside. Nice little jump off by Delgado. from the Dominican Republic. And Cristobal, that's LAL of Seton Hall. He's got 4.
Transportation crew.
Gee, all that jelly and no toast. You know, speaking of the Los Angeles Clippers, I would contend and agree or disagree that when you consider Doris, Beverly was injured, Teodosic was injured, Gallinari missed a lot of the season, Blake was traded. Doc Rivers did arguably one of his best coaching jobs just to have them in contention for the playoffs at the end of the regular season. Agree or disagree?
100% agree. They were 42 and 40, finished 10th in the West. See Lawrence Frank, first a member of their front office, and to sell on his staff. A little bit further down from Lawrence is Rex Kalanian, who is the defensive coordinator on Dwayne Casey's staff in Toronto. He's now moved to Los Angeles with Doc Rivers.
Mike Woodson no longer with the Clippers staff, but they were talking about Doc. 11 consecutive winning seasons. The only other coach that can claim that distinction, Doris Rook,
Greg Popovich?
Greg Popovich. Yeah. So, Doc in elite company right now. As the Clippers try to claw their way back into this game, and
well, they'll give a little credit to Lou Williams. Lou Williams had himself a year, 23 points per game, or just a shade under that.
Lou Williams got himself a new contract near the end of the regular season.
Correct. Many believe he could have easily been an all-star. I'm still vying for 15 all-stars. There are 3 all-NBA teams. And I get it, somebody will always be left out, but if there were 15, since there's 3 all-NBA teams, why not have 15 all-stars? You got a lot of guys who can't play around that time for a variety of reasons.
Invariably, we usually get a few injuries, too.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Los Angeles Clippers recently signing Mike Scott as a free agent from the Washington Wizards.
And Luke Mbamute,
Yeah.
who ups their defensive presence on the wing.
Back again. How much do you think it's going to break Houston, if at all, that they lose 2 of their top wing defenders in Trevor Ariza and Mbamute as well?
I think all of us have talked about that's a big loss, both of those men. Stormwell tries to get to the free throw line and does. Here's why. And this was an interesting discussion.
Turn that shit off. Yeah. Fucking migraines. I'm gonna go wash my hands real quick because I just pet my dog and she put her drool on me. Buckwheat. Oats, millet, buckwheat, quinoa, amaranth, gluten-free, no genetically engineered ingredients. Yeah. Yo, where you at, Antonio?
Here's with the rebound. A little bit of contact underneath, no call. King took a hit. Up high, and a nice dime by Michel.
So Delgado was the one who was responsible for the contact on one end defensively. So we're assuming he used that verticality and then got the bucket on the other one.
And today, Storwell said, "Give me that stuff," as he blocked Josh Hart. Those two have had a nice battle here in the first half.
You enjoying that matchup?
I love guys that walk it and talk it. And those guys have been at each other at both ends of the floor. Cornwell played for Frank Martin of South Carolina. And Josh Hart rubbed him off the screen for the bucket choice. Give a little stare afterwards, too.
Just so smart, confident, great feel. Not what this young man did as a starter. So it just takes a little brush screen out top. It goes right to the cup. Not great help defense. 23 starts for the Lakers. Josh was tremendous. He shot 49%. Averaged 13 points. He's 42%.
Yep.
You were talking about how he pitched in the fridge.
Mic test.
Yep.
All good?
All good.
Cool. If I cause any problems, I've got my headphones right here.
Loud and clear.
Cool. I'm going to go make myself a beverage and join you for a short while.
Yeah. I'm just chilling.
All right, cool.
Just thinking about what a double-edged sword. Yeah. So it's just like, and then you think of that, those who speak, those who know don't speak, and those who speak don't know. And it's like, luckily, I feel like I'm just sitting back, and I got all these people doing like all this cross-referencing for me because I do it enough. But I have actually that Jesse Spots guy.
He's awesome.
He's doing a shit ton of cross-referencing for me.
Jesse Spots is awesome. If anybody here listening doesn't already listen to Jesse Spots, find him and subscribe. He's good. He's good.
Yeah. So it's good to get to basically have him as a cross-referencer, and we can go back and forth with our own research. And it's interesting because like a year and a half ago, he was anti-subgenius, anti-flat Earth, and it's just funny how it all changes.
Well, I think it was anti, I'll say in American, or anti, as you say in proper English, anti-flat Earth. I think it was anti-flat Earth cult
Yeah, and he specifically told me today about money grabbers and fakers and that and something else. I can go look. But
Dan, can we just confer right now that we haven't pre-planned what we were going to talk about, because what we just mentioned right now is what I wanted to join and talk about.
Go ahead. Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't. There's no script here, like Powerland says. No script. Got no script here.
No script. I'm gonna go and make a beverage. Yeah, there are things that should be said that other people have been saying, including Globlings, which is true. So not about the shape of the Earth, but about the flat Earth community. And
okay.
Okay. So I'll be back shortly.
Let me give you a couple ideas out myself. It's my mad scribblings. It just says Tide pellets. Tide pellets. You got people out here eating their Tide pellets. Oh man. Let me guess. Oh, you believe that the Earth is a ball, and you eat Tide balls? You eat Tide balls because you think the Earth is a ball. Oof. The weird world that is. Yeah, I'm gonna have like the Flat Earth OGs channel. So like every like week or like bi-weekly, I'll have like Flat Earth OGs come on, like Antonio, Caleb Waters, I think that guy's name is. What's his face? If anyone, any of the Flat Earth OGs want to come on, they are more than welcome. Simon Ramos, I'll have him come on. You're like Daryl, is it like Daryl Fox and Simon Ramos? That'd be cool to have them both on at the same time. But I talked to Simon Ramos. He said he would come on. I can definitely get a lot of cool people to come on at the same time. People that aren't aware the Earth has intelligence. Yeah, people that aren't aware that the Earth has intelligence. Surprisingly enough, they think that the Earth is a ball. So you don't think that the Earth has any intelligence to it as a living or breathing organism? No, Dan, you're a kook. Counter space versus counter space. You got counter space, like right here. You got counter space. Counter space. Here. This is counter space. Like this is counter space. Look. Counter space. Counter space. So there's counter space in the counter space. Counter space in it's counter space versus counter space, but it's counter space in the counter space. You see? Snow globes.
Were you talking fractals then?
What?
Were you talking about fractals then?
What, counter space?
Yeah. Counter space inside counter space inside counter space.
Kind of, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't really actually think about that, but it is that is fractal patterns.
It's the holofractal universe of Nassim Haramein.
And he's as much as I rip on him now on all of his posts, and I get all this flack from all of his fans every day. But he was one of the first people that I really looked up to, and
yeah, me too.
And I'm like, I felt I felt really related to him, and I felt really related to him, and I'm like, this dude's living out of his van for 10 years and just trying to piece together the structure of the universe, and yeah, like I was a propounding of his vortex universe for that whole Earth and the sun is. The Earth is following the sun, and the sun's going through the endless vacuum of space. According to, I mean, I was just trying to figure it out in around 2000. Well, the whole since like 2007, 2008. But when I found him around 2010-ish, 2011, putting probably 2010, and then just putting together that model and thinking about that for a few years till about 2012, 2013, so a few years, and then telling everyone I know about this dude's model and about how the new structure of the universe is, and this is how it actually is, and you're all stupid and you're all ignorant, and so it's like, oh, and by the way, it's also hollow, and you don't know about Atlantis and the expanding Earth, and you don't know about, but actually Lemuria was before Atlantis, and Mu was before Lemuria, and it's like, oh my god! See, like I already, and the spirit science. Remember the spirit science thing that everyone was going nuts about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know all those people, all the editors, all the people in the cartoons. Teal Swan follows my stuff. She likes my stuff. And I know she pays attention. All those spiritual people, all like they all follow my stuff. Like Prince A guy, and like he likes my stuff every once in a while. And so I'm like, so Rogan, all these new age cult leaders, and they're all cool, but guess what? They don't talk about the globe. They don't talk about the flat Earth, do they? Doesn't fit the program, does it? And
well,
so
the thing is, I think the flat Earth takes time to absorb. I'm glad that I looked at it the way I did, which was over a period of a weekend, just immersed myself in it, looked logically for objections to what was being said, found some legitimate objections, and found some not so legitimate. Like the reversed moon in the northern hemisphere compared to the south is just orientation. It's just, that's all it is. But things like the sun's azimuth, the sun rising southeast and setting southwest from the south, things like that were like problematic. But the other things, the fact that a conspiracy could be made, it's like, well, yeah, a conspiracy could be made to hide the shape of the Earth. The fact that water's always flat, yeah, okay. There's objections that are legitimate from the globelings, which is the amount of curvature is so small you can't detect it. The distance, all of these things, I mean, yeah, they're stretching a bit when they talk about whole cityscapes being lifted up to the horizon, not above the horizon as you get with mirages, but just the whole. But when people are busy with their own channels already, like Prince Aya or Teal Swan and these guys, when they're already busy, for them to take time from whatever they're engaged with to look at the flat Earth and take it in, it's quite a big ask, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Nassim Haramein, if he's still working on a free energy device, which is what he was working on, if he's working on that, is he going to stop and let's say he's receiving funding. Let's say he's got interest from universities to start to peer review. Okay. And he now says, by the way, the earth is also flat. How likely are those universities to say, well, give us your free energy device anyway. We will study it seriously.
See, the thing about that is, I think you already know this, is that he's been trying to be taken seriously for like a decade or 20 years.
Yeah.
And like seriously though, like because I remember like all these scientists were like, they came together and they were talking about his model like a little bit over 10 years ago or something along those lines, and and they're like, what are we gonna do about this guy, basically, like.
Well, do you remember the hit piece page that was made about him?
I think so, yeah.
It was a very well put together page written by somebody expert in NLP and manipulative language, basically just saying, first, is not academically qualified. It's like, neither was fucking Tesla, you cretin. Tesla didn't have a degree, just for anybody out there. Tesla did not have a university degree. What he did have was a mental breakdown. Tesla had a nervous breakdown, spent time convalescing from his mental health breakdown. People don't know that, you know, and they don't mention it.
Yeah, he almost died.
Huh?
Yeah, and he almost died because of that breakdown too.
Yeah, and he spent 2 years digging ditches, and he squandered all his money as a compulsive gambler until he kind of cured himself of that. But the point is, when they say Nassim Haramein is not academically qualified, neither was Nikola Tesla. So is not being academically qualified a reason to dismiss Tesla's findings? Or,
Yeah,
you know, let's say that unit for magnetism, the Tesla, and let's throw it away and look for somebody else to name it after.
Yeah, that list is endless of people who don't have PhDs in their supremely great work. They've done supremely great work, and they're millionaires and billionaires. Speaking of billionaires, now we're dealing with 25-year-old billionaires named Kylie Jenner who get famous because they stare into cameras and they take selfies, and you know, this is the type of it's promoting goddess dumb, the venerating dumb whorism, the whore of Babylon, basically. Just and it's just worship. So what is it? So if it is the whore of
vanity,
the whore of Babylon is Lucifer, then. So they're just a bunch of Luciferians, and you know, that's what they do, and they get money and power from each other, and they just circle jerk each other, and that's what they do. That's what they do. So it's like that's the big. So it's not only is it sun worship, it's moon worship. It's sun worship and moon worship combined into that one symbol. When it's the hand up and it's the Baphomet up down pansexual transgender mix up, unifying both races. There's no such thing as male and female. Everyone's equal. You can't be different. Stay in the. So that's it. It's not that sun worship, moon worship combined into two different Hegelian dialect right there. So they took the two, sun and the moon, they divided it to trick all the stupid people into arguing about the sun worship versus the moon worship, which is what countless flat Earth channels do. I can't name them all because it's 99% of you idiots out there, and you're all trapped in your male versus female, black versus white, sun versus moon. And it's just so obvious, and that's why I have 4 viewers, and you have 100 and 300, because you don't talk about those simple things. Oh, and by the way, Jesus freaks and atheists are also afraid of me too. I'll add that in the mix. So when you got Jesus freaks, true fanatical Christians, truly mentally insane people who I can sniff away from fucking years away, where I'm like, oh, I know, like take Nathan Thompson's ex-girlfriend, for instance, that Kayla chick, that crazy-eyed flat Earth chick, Christian. I can sniff out insanity from years away. I'm like, ooh, I just delete her. I'm like, I can just her posts. So always looking for a man online, or you're like using Facebook as your fucking men's fishing device. It's like, God, you're just such a. That's what it's just. Ugh. Wouldn't you know? And he's like, Nathan. He says, he's like, if you're looking for a perfect Christian, look at Jesus, not at people. And I'm like, well, first off, Jesus was a Jew, and
oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. That's not right. You shouldn't say that. He was a Christian.
Oh, he was the first Christian, but
he was the first follower of himself.
Yeah, so I'm like, it just doesn't. I thought he knew a lot about Jesus. He already showed me he doesn't know anything about the. And by the way, I also knew that Legal Shield was a crock of shit, and so I never joined that. And lo and behold, Legal Shield fucked him up the ass too. So not only did Legal Shield fuck him up the ass, and I'm like, yo, Nathan, what? Dan, you want to join Legal Shield? No, I don't. Why not? I'm making all this money, and come on, let's do it. Okay, tell me how it works. Oh, okay, well, you gotta, here, go to this website, and then, dude, just tell me how it works in a minute. Oh, you can't? All right, well, I'm not gonna do it. Peace. And lo and behold, Legal Shield fucked you up the ass, and your girlfriend tried to F you in the ass, and because she's trying to fucking slander his name. Guess what? She's a Christian. Not a good representation of Christ there. So, you know how like Christians, they try to cut. Christians are like they're like Jews. You know, they try to come. They go together in a relationship. The Christian tries to find that a Christian. Even the Mormon tries to find. But to stay on point, the Jew obviously has to marry another Jew. I mean, that is their religion. Like, there's no going around that. So like, it's just very interesting how it's the same exact thing, and everyone's always telling how it's different, but it's the same thing.
It's almost as if it's the same game being played, but with different names. You know, it's a game called manipulation, and we have it in the flat Earth too.
So did you want to say something about something?
Yeah, I wanted to point out to people. It's really simple. There are channels out there that are honest, sincere, and get gagged, and there are channels out there that don't get gagged, that never get gagged. But that's not a way of determining whether a channel is honest and sincere or not, or a person. But there's something important for people to consider, which is this. When the flat Earth debate is over, when everybody understands that the Earth is flat, or at least there's no point arguing, because the people who really understand that the Earth is flat from valid standpoints, not from invalid standpoints, so not from lack of education or lack of understanding, but from actual understanding. When people have a legitimate understanding that the Earth is flat, and they stop debating with globe believers, because we see that globe believers are just misinformed and have misinterpreted the data of the world. When that's the case, what are big channels going to do? Are they going to become gamer channels? What are they going to do?
Well,
when the flat Earth debate,
wait, say that again.
When the flat Earth debate is over, what will big channels do?
Oh, like you mean like science channels?
No. I mean like flat earthers. All the flat earthers who are including myself and you, including flat earthers that have small channels and huge channels. What are they going to do once there's no longer any debate? Once the globling is like debating with a racist, when you try to explain to them that, no, being racist, well, it's not that being racist is wrong, is that the reasons for you being racist are false. Yes, there are differences between the races. Absolutely there are. Chinese people have straight black hair. African people have curly hair. There really are differences. African people tend to be much better at certain sports than Chinese and Caucasians. And there are differences that are racial, just like there are differences that are gender-driven or sex-driven. I'm fuck the whole gender, the term gender. That's a manipulative ploy. Like the term N-word. No, the word is nigger. It's an abusive word when said abusively, but the word is nigger. Saying N-word so that you don't say that word. What if you're reading Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn? What are you going to say? You know. So,
good point.
My point is this: there are flat earthers out there, and I'm telling people right now because this is true. There are flat earthers out there who are trying to end the debate, who are trying to say, look, guys, look at this shit. Your model can't describe, can't explain this shit, failed to predict it. We have found it and we predicted it, and the debate is finished. There are actual channels trying to do that and close the fucking debate and get on with life. And there are channels that are trying to keep those things quiet. There are flat earth channels that are trying to keep debate ending discoveries quiet. We want to continue the circle jerk, the echo chamber. Do you remember when Tim Osman used to take over channels and grandstand for 5 minutes telling people that the flat earth was an echo chamber? He was fucking right. To a large extent, he was right. A lot of the flat earth channels are nothing but mini cults.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, sooner or later, the debate will end, and those people that have relied on receiving some kind of value
they'll be exposed,
to their life. Say again?
They'll be exposed, yeah. I mean, they'll just go away, like I said. I mean, they're just gonna go away.
Yeah, but the reason I'm saying this is there
like
are
the people. Keep that thought. Fuck it, keep going.
Okay, I was going to say there are people who follow channels. They don't just take information from wherever they want to take it. They follow channels. They hang on the words that people are saying. They hang on every word. Sometimes they will dismiss small errors that might be said, either intentional or by mistake. Okay, they will dismiss those things, but that's just how we are as human beings. But some people rest a lot of importance on what certain flat earthers say. And when it turns out that the debate is finished and those people who have been hanging on the words of flat earthers or flat earth channels no longer have flat earth channels to hang on to, they will have a void in their life.
Yeah.
There are channels who are dedicated to making money from the flat earth. There are people selling fucked up maps of the flat earth, even though they know if they're fucked up. They're selling them to make fucking money. And when the debate is finished, those guys will say, well, I got my chunk. And that's fucking wrong. It's wrong. Yeah, you can make money from anything that you want, but making wrong by pushing bullshit or by trying to stretch an argument so that it doesn't arrive at a conclusion so you can bleed it dry, that's fucking wrong.
That's what people. That's what scumbags do. That's what scumbags do. And by the way, those people will just disappear. And so, like, what you're saying correlates to and relates to what I was gonna say earlier too. I'm just interested in the truth in general. I've been on this path for a while, and so like you said, the flat Earth just hit you in a weekend. Like I already said, I was studying all those different things, and I mean, I'm sure you were too. The Adams, was it Adams calendar? Remember the?
Yeah.
I mean, I was into Santos Bonacci and Michael Tellinger in 2010. I was reading I have their books, and so it's like when Santos switched, and then when Tellinger, I'm like, oh man, I mean, these are just super omens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like I know what a regular omen is, but I know a super omen is when Tellinger and Santos switch over to my side. They're like when I'm before them. So I'm like, so when the geocentric, flat and stationary, electromagnetic and toroidal, this whole thing started to. It was just simply there was the same thing like I always do. Oh, there's David Icke, Alex Jones, Hollow Earth, freaking Mafia, the Vatican, the Federal Reserve, the Titanic, the Beatles, Elvis, JFK, I already said Atlantis, Lemuria, the expanding Earth theory, then Nassim Haramein, Terence McKenna adding mushrooms, DMT, and I'm like, oh, and then the flat Earth, all this, and I'm like, okay, it was nothing to me. It was nothing. It was oh my, and I simply just went to Google, typed in real pictures of Earth.
That's the first thing I did.
Real pictures of satellites, real pictures of planets, and then I went to NASA.gov, did the same exact thing, and they were even worse than Google.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that settles it. I'm like, now I know what so it's the truth that I'm after, and like to make it make sense of what you were saying is those people just go away. They're not after the truth. They're after money and fame and attention. So like you said, they get that, they get it, whatever, shove it up their ass and go away. But the people who are interested in truth, like me and yourself, are I'm gonna be here whether you like it or not, unless I die, obviously, and and I would never suicide myself, by the way, and so yeah, that it was just that's very simple. It's not complicated.
This it comes down to, for anybody out there.
Oh, the Admiral Byrd too stuff. Like I was already on the Admiral Byrd fix for years.
Do you? I want to, if it's okay with you, I want to bring up Jake, the prick. His
fraud.
His twist on what Matt Powerland was saying. Did you watch it? Okay, so just so anybody out there who hasn't caught this, okay, I'm going to encapsulate it. Matt Powerland has been saying the only thing that will actually end this debate, so that the debate is over and we can move on to how we're going to live with our neighbors, okay? The only thing that's actually going to end the debate is to get out of this pond through the ice. That will end it. Either you will come out, having gone in at South America, you will come out New Zealand, Australia, or Africa, or you'll come out to a place where there's a race of people that aren't from our pond. Okay? That's it. That's what's going to happen. But that's not going to be allowed. There's no chance that you're going to go to the United Nations and say, hey guys, how about you give us permission to prove to the world that you are full of shit. The United Nations is not going to say, yeah, sure. So it's not going to happen. But Matt Powerland has been driving at ending the freaking debate. Eric Dubay knows that the debate is finished. He's just trying to give people pointers. He's saying, look, if you just look at history, you see all kinds of pointers that the earth is flat and not moving. You can look at modern stuff and find that the earth is flat and not moving. But if you think of back to Bird, if you think of what Bird did, fly away from 250 miles past Little America, over the South Pole, and you arrive at another pond. He didn't describe it as a pond. He described it as another ocean with a continent the size of the contiguous United States. So that means that he described the water there and the vegetation. This is immediately having flown past the ice. So he's flying over ice, and very quickly he arrives at the end of ice, water and vegetation, like trees and plants. That means that that other pond that he flew into was small. That other pond was small. If that other pond had been the size of our pond, you don't arrive at vegetation. When you're at the very south of South America, there's no freaking vegetation. South America is classed as part of Antarctica. Well, it's part of the Arctic Circle. So you don't arrive at vegetation. He arrived at vegetation. That tells you that's a small pond. Now, if there are people guarding this pond to stop people getting out of this pond and going and decimating whoever lives in the smaller ponds out there, or bursting that pond's bubble, because that pond might be thinking it's a planet too, then it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. This is something that we have to realize in this pond and get on with life in this pond until the end of time, or until things change and a bridge is open between us and the next pond. But there's something that's fucking sure. The sun is going to be a big alarm bell, an alarm clock. The sun is going to be a wake-up call to people, to anybody who thinks that they live on a globe. Oh, have we dropped? Yeah.
Yo, hold on a second. Ooh. Circumambient. Around. First recorded in 1625. Well, that's an interesting correlation there. The air was electric with the thrill of. Interesting.
No idea what happened.
Yeah, wasn't that fucked up? Check this out. Did you ever hear this word before? Check here, right here, and I'll put it right there. Boom. And in the chat room, I'll put it right here. You see that?
Circumambient. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, that means it means surrounding, encompassing.
Yeah.
And its origin was 1625. I find that date to be very very interesting because 1625, you know, that's kind of like, you know, when the globe was really supposedly pushed, and circumambient, that means surrounding or encompassing.
I don't know if you've seen what Persian Scribe has written in the chat, but he's mentioning exactly this, that there are people who are not even aware that there has been centuries-old debates about this.
What?
In the chat? In your chat?
Wait, he said a vast majority are not even aware there is a multi-century-old debate between what? Basically,
between globe and flat.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say basically the globe and flat. Yeah, yeah. No, they're clueless. They think it's a brand new thing.
I was saying before I got booted or before whatever happened, and I'm saying this here because my channel might never have the restriction lifted. It should have been lifted. Remember, we spoke yesterday. I was going to give it a day. Apparently, when you have community guideline strikes and you get gagged, your channel becomes gagged. You lose your privilege to do live streaming. Once that lapses, it's 90 days. You receive your streaming ability back, unless you're permanently restricted. So 90 days, when you check the details, it say it can take up to another full working day before you receive your privileges back. That full working day has come and gone, and I don't have my privileges back. My ability might have been permanently revoked. It doesn't matter if it has. I'll just not do live hangouts. I'll make videos and upload them. But what I was saying before I dropped, and if I'm being a bit vague or speaking, is because I have a looming migraine. The sun is going to be a huge wake-up call to all the people who think that they live on a globe, because the sun, if you think about it, the sun in the real world, so when we say the sun, we're talking about that thing that we see in the sky that we think is the same thing that we all look at. It's not the same thing we all look at. We all see the same thing when we look at it. The same thing is when we look at a rainbow. But it's an intangible thing. It's not physically there. We're not looking at the same spot in the sky when we're looking at the sun. The thing that we look at in the sky that we call the sun is in a circumambient rotation over the Earth, and this circumambient rotation is continuously widening. And the geophysicists explain this. They say, yes, the Earth is slowing down in its rotation fractionally, so that every day is just a fraction longer than the day before, because the Earth is taking just a little bit longer to rotate. This is what they say. It's like, no. The sun is taking a fraction longer to make its circuit, and eventually it will make a circuit that is large enough to veer off and clash with the sun that's the closest to our sun. Eventually, at some point, it happened in the past, and it will happen again. When that happens, anybody who thinks that they live on a globe, if they still think they live on a globe, talk about a paradigm shift, because not only will it, cascade into the next ice age, but that's a pretty big situation if the sun stands still for a while and then gets rolling again once the moon's influence kicks in. But this is going to happen, and who knows when, but this is the reason, and I'm going to say this right now, even though there are people out there that might have different ideas. This is the reason for chemtrails. The reason they chemtrail the sky.
Block out the sun.
No. It's if you think of what they officially say about chemtrails, because they have released official papers. They're trying to control the sun's influence on the earth. That's what they're trying to do. Then they will dress it up. Other people will dress it up and say they're trying to reflect some of the sun's radiation into outer space. And like, no, those are other people putting words in the mouths of the people in charge of the chemtrailing. The people in charge of the chemtrailing are saying we are trying to control the sun's influence on the earth. HARP is trying to control the atmosphere of the earth. It's like, what do you think they're talking about? They're trying to retard the sun's ever widening circle. They're trying to control the atmosphere ever increasing height. This is what they're doing.
There's a
feedback.
Yeah, it's really annoying me now. Let's see here. Now, does that have anything to do with the analemma? And because I think it does. and I have a globe here that you'd be interested in because it's an old globe, and it's the Hammond Omega 360, and 12-inch diameter globe, copyright. Yeah, it's got, but it's interesting because it's got the now it says the analemma here, showing the sun's declination for every day in the year, and then it says also the equation of time. So that's pretty badass. So the equation, the analemma is the equation of time.
You know how the analemma has a small,
and then there's the time at the top.
Yeah.
AM and PM.
You know how the analemma has a small loop at the north and a wider loop in the south. If you look at the analemma and how it's positioned, there's a point pointing north and a wider loop pointing south. What's going to happen is the loop pointing south is going to become increasingly larger, and the loop pointing north is going to become increasingly narrower. That's what's going to happen. It's not going to be just that the whole analemma moves southwards. No, it's going to distort, and at the point when it becomes no longer a figure of 8, but instead becomes more, it stops being a figure of 8 and becomes instead a circle. At that point, it's the point where it lapses into the nearest sun, absorbs it, and then continues again after it arrives at a period of equilibrium, a balanced point, a balanced circuit, and then it starts to make an analemma again. It starts to create, to orbit with an analemma. Only the analemma becomes balanced north and south. So it becomes the actual symbol for eternity, which is a sideways 8.
Exactly. Yeah, that's super awesome and extremely interesting. Because I resonate with that symbol so much. Yeah, fuck, man. Now it's just, could the moon technically be? Now here's the thing: we use the word sun and moon. Now couldn't the sun be a moon, and couldn't the moon be a sun? You know, you know, like we call them sun and moon, but who's to say that the sun and moon are not the same species, so to speak? Like, and there's I know there's theories that the moon is a dead sun, and I've heard that one since I've been a little kid. I'm sure we all have. At least I did when I was a kid. I don't know what the hell you were studying, but that's what I was studying. And so yeah, like all this stuff has been racing through my mind the past couple of days. Like I was like, because the moon has its own individual properties, and like now, and globe heads like to use that against the flat earthers. Like you don't even know what the sun is. Then I go, so you do? Like you know what the sun is what you're like. What is it? Tell me. I don't know. See, the thing is that I admit that I don't know immediately. Oh, I have guesses. I have a lot of guesses about what it is and suspicions, and I guarantee a lot more than you. And but I'm not going to claim that I know what it is. And so, but yeah, I don't know. It's just all these thoughts racing through me.
Anybody who claims to know what it is, it's like to know what it is, you would have to have proof. You'd have to know the truth of what it is. In order to do that, you'd have to be able to not replicate it, not model it, but actually test it. Otherwise, you would only have proof that your ideas or your concepts about the sun work in the way that you've modeled it, which is exactly what the globe Earth is. It's just a way of modeling what's around us. But when people talk about the sun, it's fatiguing.
What shape is,
yes.
What shape is this?
It's a sphere.
Wait a minute.
It's not a sphere. It's black.
That was good.
So when people talk about the sun, if they don't stipulate that the sun is intangible, I mean, even Eric Dollard hasn't figured this out. When he talks about the sun, he talks about this one thing that he says might be like a capacitor. It's like, what's its location? Is it a thing, or is it just so we're talking about something that's intangible. We can see it, but it's intangible. We can also see a fucking rainbow, but it's intangible. It's not there. There isn't a point at which it's like, aha, here's a rainbow and I can test it. Okay.
Yeah.
When people say, well, you don't know what the sun is. How don't you know what the sun is? Like, we're being honest. We don't know what the sun is. You think the sun is a bunch of bullshit. Thermonuclear device, a thermonuclear explosion that's continuously somehow taking hydrogen and blending two hydrogen molecules together and causing a leftover of helium. That's what you think it is. And MIT proved that that's false, because in order for them to do that, which they did, they took two hydrogen molecules and forced them together, and it released energy and helium. In order to do that, they had to keep the hydrogen stable enough for it to be, raped by the other hydrogen with huge fucking magnets to keep it in place. So this is what MIT did. It's like, well, there's no great big magnets out in space around the sun keeping that helium there in this reaction. Just a bunch of bullshit. But in terms of not knowing what something intangible is, something intangible which we know is actually there, we can simply use the example of consciousness. We know that consciousness is there and it's intangible, and we can't even study it. We can have ideas about it. We can set up parameters to test whether our ideas about it are anywhere near
like
correct.
The flat Earth, we can make a lot of money off of it too.
Yes, but this is the thing. With consciousness, we're never going to arrive at knowing exactly. Not until you're part of a Godhead are you going to know what consciousness is. And we somehow think that we're going to figure out what the sun is. No. How about you try and figure out either what consciousness is or figure out what God is? Because you're not going to.
Or water would be a good start.
Water. Exactly. Yeah, but it's water. Oh, it's hydrogen and oxygen. Is it really? Is it really now?
You made me think of reminded me of my childhood theory of why coffins are made. So they're like, let's see here. Now, maybe people die so we can feed the plants, and then because and then people say, well, yeah, that's the circle of life, and then everyone dies. Everyone goes to the same place, right? Now, here's the thing. But human beings are actually putting themselves into boxes to avoid being brought back into the circle of life. So they literally create a synthetic thing, and then they do not allow the outside world of quote unquote nature to, I guess, decompose naturally. So
absorb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's you see what they made a business out of it. So they make money off of it, a lot of money, and a lot of land, a lot of land, and a lot of think of all of the land of cemeteries and graveyards that could be made for institutions and growth potential centers, and the world that goes on and on and on. But the money, each headstone, thousands. Just think about that. The whole and so I was thinking about that when I was a kid. I'm like that's why they made those coffins, so they're keeping us away from nature. And I'm like, these dirty, evil cretins, as you would call them.
Yeah.
Or cretin. Yeah, that's. I prove me wrong about that one in the chat room. Oh no, Dan, you're there's no such thing as nefarious business deals around cemetery and morgues. Those morgue people and yeah, there's nothing wrong with those people at all.
They're not controlled. They're not controlled by religious organisations that will say this ground is consecrated, that ground isn't, this one is.
So they exactly, and they try to take and trick your family into if you're not emotionally and mentally and economically fit and prepared for the death of a family member, these people come in and they take all of of it, and you're just like, huh? Like, what's going on here? Like, you're in a state of trauma and shock. You haven't even fully grasped the death of your loved one yet. You're still in a disassociation and total void in a black. You're just like, you don't even, you can barely speak, and yeah. And then these dirty money grabbing hands come in that are religiously Catholically blessed and Christian, and they want your family's here, make foundation, and then we'll just take all the money. You do it though. It's totally fucked, man. Totally fucked.
Yeah.
That's anti-nature. That's anti-God, so to speak. That is non-natural. Like that. If there is a definition of evil, that would be it. Basically. And did you? I'm sure you've seen the new P9 or P1000, right?
No, I haven't. I heard that there was something going to come out, but no.
Oh yeah, yep. P1000 coming out in a few months. So sell your P900 for like half the price, or like full price, and then get then use it to buy the P1000.
Hey, sorry, Dan. There's somebody Jason is saying that you're causing echo. I've got headphones on, so I don't know if that's yeah.
All right. How about now? Does it work now?
You weren't costing any to me, but apparently in the chat. Oh right,
All right.
he's saying that it sounds good now.
All right.
Hey, listen, I'm going to bail because I've got a splitting migraine, but and I think it would be good if you invited Jason in.
Who, Scribe?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that I just think it would be good.
All right.
Because he's got all kinds of stuff.
Well,
basically, because you can bash out the same things. You both can flesh out each other's thoughts. You'll see if you bring him in.
Oh, I know. I've talked to him before.
Yeah. Forgive me. Headache land.
Did you start that new thing yet?
Nope. That's not starting until September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm going to continue padding until then. And people out there might think, oh, he's padding his book. No, we're not talking about the book. We're talking about something else. It's a secret.
Now let's see here. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for hopping on here, man. I'm glad I got my channel back, and it's kind of lame that your channel.
I'm glad for you. Back. Yeah, I'm glad for you. I mean, maybe it will be back tomorrow, but if it isn't, then you continue the way that you can. And that's what I will do.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, to anybody who's joined us late, who didn't catch when we were explaining about the money-minded flat earthers, bear this in mind. Eventually, the debate will be over. There will be no more talking to globe believers about their globe. Would be like talking to people who believe in, well, I want to say fairies, but not even fairies, dragons, dinosaurs. It would be like talking to people who believe in evolution or dinosaurs. You know, it's like, oh, poor thing.
Oh no, I believe fairy. I believe in fairies more than the globe. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It is going to get to the point where there will be no more talking about flat Earth, because it will be accepted, because it will be understood. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but that's going to be a point in time. It could be finished now. There are already things that flat earthers are sitting on that could end it all, but for some reason they're just stretching it out, and it's shit.
Well, a lot of those things are scientific experiments and expeditions and creation of different models and maps, and also another thing is social activism will be a huge part in that, in which I will play a big part in, which will, because a big time bomb in the flat Earth community that a lot of you are unaware about is how I've been setting off these time bombs underneath. Well, I've been setting off time bombs around the entire America, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I've been surrounding all of the Globe Earth comedy scene and all of the Globe Earth comedians. And so now they're all surrounded by it, and now they all talk about it, even at the open mics, because I watched them squirm. And so now they're all, and now all of the big guys like Joe Rogan himself, Flat Earth is so dumb that I'm just gonna spend, every week talking about it. That's how dumb it is. I'm gonna take time away from my guests and my show every single day to talk about how dumb the flat Earth is. That's how dumb it is. Okay, but anyway, so like I'm gonna. These people are all and that if you think that if you're angry about the money being made from these hood rats, no, hold
It's
on.
not that. It's
No,
a
no,
stretching.
Hold on, I have a really good thought. If you're mad about the money being made from these hood rats and these scoundrels and these literal, thieves and fiends, the amount of money that comedians are going to make is going to astound you with the type of, because it's going to, I'm the distinguisher of it. I'm the one who's called you. No, you're the globe Earth comedians. Me and my friends are the flat Earth comedians. Me, Matt Powerland, yourself, you were on stage doing it, and a whole bunch of other. Because I actually know comedians who are professional comedians who talk to these people who are flat earthers in their personal life, but they don't talk about it on stage because it'll ruin their career. So I actually know these people, and so like I said, time bombs, and it's lots of time bombs. It's paradigm shifters. Like what is blue, red, and purple combined? Throw that, all those pills. So these are I have blue, purple, and red pills surrounding these globe Earth comedians, and I have tons of flat Earth professional comedians on that are bad. And we're gonna ridicule you like you do. Remember, the scientists say that. So I'm not talking about comedians or comedy. I'm talking about the scientists. The scientists, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Brian Cox, tell the normal people in the society to ridicule them, the flat earthers. So, well, what's going to happen when all of you are getting ridiculed by people who are funnier and smarter than you? Oh no, it's not going to look good, is it? So that's what's going to happen, and it's going to. This is what has been happening, and this is what I'm steering myself, and so yeah, it's gonna become more prevalent and more obvious here, ending 2018 and especially in 2019. That I guarantee. I'm calling it now. You're going to see 2019 full of mainstream comedians and local just talking about and it's going to make and guess what that does? That makes all the little freaking the mob, the squawkers, the followers. That makes them all freaking. Hey, you hear about that work? Hey, I'm talking to you from my cubicle. Hey, did you hear about that? Yeah, Joe Rogan and it's just so obvious to. It's like, what is this? If it's like the stock market, I feel like if I had the, it's like
you're shorting the market on.
It's like,
yeah.
It's like those business guys are like, they're all like freaking. It's like they can, yeah, that's where it's gonna go. Yeah, I can look at people and I can see and I can social trends and see what. Oh, okay, well, yeah, that's where it's gonna go, and it's gonna, and that's so yeah, the scientists are telling the normal people to make fun of. And so when the comedians start doing it to all the other, what's that gonna? You're done. You're off the stage. And guess what? Guess what? The comedians are on. They're on a stage. Guess what? The definition of stage is. It's a flat and domed. That's what it is.
Yes. I mean, when the minute a comedian says, "Hey," when a comedian says, "Hey, can you guys to my east hear me? I know the guys to my west can hear me, because of the Coriolis, but can you guys hear me?" I don't know.
See, I get it.
Yeah. Right, guys, I'm leaving the Doppler effect. Doppler effect. The guys over on the east should be hearing, "Can you hear me?" And the guys on the west should be hearing, "Can you hear me?" Yeah. But anyway, I'll catch you later. I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to lie down and listen to you hang out.
Actually, I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it off with why Patrice O'Neal was taken out with the classic heart attack gun. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
okay. Well, I'm going to listen to that. I love Patrice O'Neal. I haven't known another comedian. Well, Norm Macdonald is the only other comedian that I know that would say exactly what he wanted to say. You know?
Yeah, Norm Macdonald.
That's the only one. That's the only other one. And apart from him, Patrice O'Neal. So I'm going to bail, okay? And I'll listen to it from outside.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'll see you later, Antonio. I'm gonna play some. I'm gonna play some Norm for you real quick, actually. So I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play a quick Norm Macdonald joke, if you'll bear with me, that you all will love, and then I'm gonna play. See, Patrice O'Neal, he was quitting comedy. He realized what it is. He played the game. Yeah. Oh, nice. ODD TV. Jay Dreamers is live. You've Been Exposed is live. Skull Babylon is live. Man. Wait, what? I'm no longer a flat earther. I'm Big Dread. Wait, what is this? Hold on. What the hell's going on here? Oh man, you've been exposed. I'm no longer a flat earther. I'm Big Dread. Black flat earthers have no real place here. What the fuck? And the chat is disabled for this live stream. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Well, 1 second.
Only attributes. I said it. Thank you, baby. Thank you. You always got my back like y'all. But we all have those same things. Come on, family. Let's keep this shit all the way real. Do we want to know when man? Let me rephrase that. Do we want to know the origins of humanity? Yes. Will we be able to find out? We won't be able to find out the same reason why, no matter how hard you try. I want y'all to try with me right now tonight. Try to remember what you were doing when you took your first footsteps. Find out, try to remember what you were doing. Try to remember the first time your mom or your father fed you with a spoon for the first time and got you off the bottle. Y'all do?
Anything, like string off a branch, put it on top of a tombstone, whatever you want to do. Go leave that in the bag. Go leave that pack of batteries in the cemetery for a night or two. Buy the little ones with the power test indicators on them. Save yourself some time. Go back and check those in a day or two. Bet you money they're drained. People go, oh well, it's because they were grounded, because they were laying on the ground, or they were doing this. They don't do that shit when they're sitting on a shelf in a store. They don't do that stuff when they're in shipping in the boxes on the ground. Okay, yeah. The boxes aren't made with some spec.
I'm just live right now, talking a bunch of fucking Klondike bars. You wanna hop on? Yeah, alright, fuck it. Hop on real quick and talk some b-ball. Alright, peace.
And I'm not gonna give it to them to get the road. I'm just gonna leave it to you because they're more powerful than I am. And anyways, I just want to let you guys know. Sorry that you can't see the videos. Maybe I'll share them. I don't know if I can share them on YouTube. I don't know if I want to even next it. But this will be one of the 30 people that were able to see my videos. And I'll be talking about it tomorrow on other news channels, 6 10 10. You can listen to there. It'll be 8 a.m. Hawaiian time, whatever time that is. And anyways, I'm not going to make a big deal about the videos. Whatever it is, maybe I would do something that
question. There's been news coverage of this. Have you ever clicked on CNN.com or?
No. What happens that I've seen is that occasionally, in order to acknowledge the problem of the ridiculous amount of missing people, not just children, but all kinds of people, they go missing every year across our realm, basically, is they'll do one story. They'll put out like an Amber Alert or whatever. They'll do one story of, oh, little Susie Q has gone missing. Authorities are looking. Meanwhile, there are 40,000 other people, and they're pretending like they're concerned about the missing people, but they're not really concerned whatsoever.
Oh shit, dude. Waiting for my buddy to show up here. I don't know where the hell he is. Huh. Hello. Robert Allenbach, Marceline Campbell, Shirtless Flat Earther, THC, Darren Fuchs, New Perspective. Peace out. Good night. Heard and subscribe. I don't know.
Of the Muslims have to be fucking disposed of, whatever it is, in a day.
Let me tell you something. If you Google any criminal, Babyface Nelson, there's a picture of a guy that shot him in his face, taking a look at what the fuck I get shot. You're right, yeah. Bonnie and Clyde, that bitch, they would never show this guy, but you go Bonnie and Clyde, bullets all in the face. And fucking G-Man, man. Tommy gun. But so
break it down. What do you think happened?
But this is break it down. Conspiracy world, right? Okay, no, it's Patrice's world. But this is I get a lot of my shit in my world. Okay, what do I believe? I believe. All right, here we go. But I don't have any fucking endorsements of him, so yeah, I'll just say it. I believe, and this is the thing, you can't prove it. I believe that he had lent himself and been lied because of this is the history of it. We were in cahoots. We're in cahoots with everybody. And this is why Muslims hate America. Not because we living in America and live how we want to live and do radio. Live in America. They can't hit that song. They gotta dance to that fucking song. I love that song. There's no song that they do that's better than living in America. He never here. Really? He never here was better than living in America.
Rocky's fucking working out to it.
There we go. Yeah. This is fucking great. You can't hate it. You can't hate on this song. I don't. Let's not bomb today. Let's listen to this. Enjoy it. Because I enjoy living in America.
We don't like Americans. We want to kill them. But the song Jim Brown.
The reason they hate us is that we support the evil regimes that so Egypt and all these like dictators who suppress their people. Yeah, we help them. Right. We make sure that they stay in power. So that's why they hate us. First of all, I think. And listen, there's a new Bin Laden that they already setting up. This guy that had dinner at the White House. Al Assad or something. He's had dinner at the White House. It's like, yeah, they were talking about. We had dinner at the White House like in 2002 because he was one of the good ones. Now he's the next Bin Laden. Aside from him, I think it's Al Assad or something. I think Bin Laden was in cahoots with him a long time. I think he was getting sick. I think they needed a war. And I think that they set him up in this compound, okay, and let him live his last days out being the face of evil. Mm-hmm. I think he died somewhere because who's to prove that he wasn't? They fucking caught him and threw him in the ocean, like I said, like how you would flush cocaine down the toilet when the cops kicking your fucking door.
We needed that terrorist, Karen! Karen! How did you flush people? They wouldn't have found him! We needed that terrorist!
Sorry! Do you understand?
The only bad guy we had!
What I'm saying, this is all conjecture, but I'm saying what I believe.
So it was just time to tell the world that he was dead.
It was time. And it was time for Obama because he's not done yet. His mission ain't done. And this helped him a lot. They didn't count on something that I knew about. What I knew about is that white racism is more powerful than he thought it fucking was.
Really?
So now he has to almost become Bush.
Yeah, he is kind of
gun ho, and we killed the motherfucker.
And that white racism, you're correct about because his poll numbers only went up a tiny bit after that.
Because I heard
if that happened with George W., his fucking rating would have went to the
They want to make sure that he could do 4 terms.
I think Obama only went up 3, maybe 4 points.
Because white racism is only it's a lot more. It's deep, man. And so I think personally, they needed a face to this. Okay, he's not only was public enemy number one. People would argue he was next to Hitler in terms of
He just didn't have the numbers.
his cachet.
Yeah.
Of
What he wanted to do.
yeah, of his evil. So look, I think he was a sick old man. I think he died a long time ago, or he died in that place. They staged that shit. Plastic, he's dead. So Obama elected. They're gonna put another guy in. And here's one of the things. One of the guys, Webster Carter, who I like him. He's just one of those machines. Those conspiracy and he's a historian. Though. He goes, look, and he said the same in 2007. He said, I'm nervous about this guy because, see, the thing about Bush, and they call it the neocons, the thing about Bush, he was a cowboy. He's like, we're going to go in there and fuck him. But Obama's not that kind of guy. So basically what he's saying is, look, the people he worked for, which is the beggars, okay, they want, Britain and America wants to keep power. They want this white people to be powerful. I tell people this, they're not gonna let brown people rule the world. They'll destroy it first. These white bankers. So basically, this guy, fucking Brzezinski, who is the face, he's the puppet master. He wants to stop China and Russia. And if he can, he wants to pit them against each other to destroy each other. And what they would do is, now they're talking about going to Pakistan. They started talking with Pakistan. Yeah. Because how could you harbor this guy? What they're gonna do with that is take Pakistan so they can strategically have things. They want to control Pakistan because Pakistan is friendly with China.
But wouldn't Pakistan have said something like, hey, by the way, this guy's been dead for fucking years. We know it.
But they have. Wait. And you remember this lady that got fucking the prime minister of Pakistan, of the woman?
Yeah.
She said, she goes, what was the guy with the fucked up head looked like the guy they caught and he was in a t-shirt and he was,
yeah.
They caught him and he was a big timer. Yeah. She says out loud, this lady, fucking her name, the prime minister, she was murdered in 2007. Right. She said, I'm dead. Yeah, he was killed by somebody. Yeah, absolutely. She said, I'm dead. She was dead. After she said that, they murdered that bitch.
Let me go with what Ann said. Hold on, let me go with what Ann said, though. I mean, the Republicans and the Democrats fucking at this point hate each other. So why wouldn't there be a Republican saying, look, I know the deal here. Fuck that. Osama's been dead for years.
Why would they tell us the truth?
Oh, no, the Republicans to get a little foothold on
because they're in cahoots.
So I have an open mind. So the Republicans and the Democrats, as they show on TV, they fucking basically take it along and hate each other. They're actually in cahoots.
It's staged. It's the bank runs the fucking show.
It's divide and conquer. So
that's why they need racism. That's why anybody who ever comes close ever to galvanizing the people, they get murdered. Martin Luther King is dangerous because he had white people going, wow, this is wow. And he was doing it out of love. But Rock did it because it was, the next thing they're going to do is, if you notice, they do a lot of shit in Africa. It's the Sudan. It's under peace. But Sudan gives China, evidently, I just get my reports. I didn't go away and test the fucking oil. But supposedly Sudan gives China a lot of oil. Maybe so we got to go in these places to take these places. That's why dictators are so important to us, because we can't fuck with a democracy. So we need Pakistan to have a dictator so we can say, hey, do this, motherfucker.
Well, that's why we $3 billion.
That's why we hate as a country. We're supposed to hate Ahmadinejad from Iran and the motherfucker from South America. Chavez. Because they're dictators who actually look out for their people. They're not corrupt.
Why can't we turn them?
Because they're not corrupt. They say fuck America. And they work with China. Because China has just as much power as we do. We are horrified of fucking China. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is somehow get a foothold and have a standing army and get control of any place where the oil, where people can go fuck America and sell their oil to China. We want to control those places so that then China has to then fight with Russia to get their oil from like Siberia, or if the Saudis want to deal with them, they just make it so it's because China needs oil.
How come all these conspiracies pretty much come back for many years now to oil? Yet we are fucked with oil and paying through the nose, and we never have enough. And it's like, here's
the thing that gets me. I think it's an easy answer. Yeah. They don't give a fuck about any of us. And the reason that don't forget, I buy a lot of sneakers. Here's the pimp game. I think I might say the pimp game is this. Whatever you into buying, okay, I remember my sneakers were $30. Yeah. You buy sneakers $30. I remember my mom paid sneakers $30, and she's like, damn. Then what they do is they hit you with the $60 right after the 30. You go, oh Lord, I can't afford sneakers no more. Just when you get ready, they find out who got money and who don't. They lower it back down to 40. So you go, ooh, I can buy sneakers, but they just bumped it up $10. Gas in 2003 was 99 cents. It's $4 now. Why didn't they just bump it up to 4? Because we would revolt.
Right.
But now it's a slow fucking.
Slow burn.
They just have the appreciation to know people enough that people want it with Vaseline. You know what I'm saying? So they slip it in slow. And you go, okay. And they take
So
it out.
pretty much everything is a lie. Everything's a lie. And so how does this lie perpetuate without somebody really coming out and leaking it?
If they do, but we dismiss them. Anybody who says, hey, this is the anti-idea of what happened. Like people, look, here's the problem. The problem is they have a term. It's called, they have 2 terms for what we deal with now.
Yeah.
One is blowback. The other term is what we all know, which is collateral damage. Why would you even invent a fucking term called collateral damage, which is innocent people die? Basically, hey, this number of innocent people died so that we can. What's the word for it? It's innocent. I mean, it's like this many people like they calculate
the cost of doing business.
Yeah. We've heard that over the years. I don't want to get past the Osama thing. But Al Qaeda comes out and says he's dead. So what's that about that?
Al Qaeda supposedly, and this is what you believe is why.
But why would they have said, look, we all know?
Because Al Qaeda, and this is where it starts to sound crazy.
Right.
It's CIA created, CIA run. Bin Laden fought Russia for us. The whole story about him going fucking Iraq, that's what they told us. But Al Qaeda was created and funded by fucking America.
So what was it for that outrageous back then?
A bunch of fucking money.
But then he had to live the rest of his life in kind of shitty terms.
But he was dying anyway. That's what they showed us. Did they show him with his legs crossed chilling in that compound? That's what they said. This is what I'm saying. It's just what they said.
Much better than that.
Dude, he was chilling.
But hey, hold the phone here. Okay. The Russian thing. Obviously, it's like, the CIA was funding Bin Laden and Al Qaeda. It's the same people. When they were the Mujahideen or whatever, when they were fighting the Russians. But that is it. Why do people think that's so outrageous? Sometimes our allies become our enemies and vice versa. Back then, we hated the fucking Russians. Yeah, we wanted to fuck with them. They wanted to fuck with us. So whenever they got involved in some military action, we supported the opposing team, which at that point was Bin Laden and the rest of the people in free fighters in Afghanistan. Then things changed. There is no more Soviet Union, so we became the bad guys. And of course, now they're going to come after us. So why is that so unbelievable?
No, I don't not believe it. I don't even not believe that. It's what I go with is like what makes sense. Now some of it you go, like, look, I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in this thing where they're trying to get us to believe in aliens because NASA just released
Area 51.
Yeah, I'm not with it, but I'm gonna say if you tell me 2 + 2 is 4, and I know it is, but then you shove marble in his ass, and I go, Jesus, everybody shoves marble in his ass? That doesn't discredit 2 + 2 is 4.
Okay.
So I'll let motherfuckers to fight this battle. And I'm gonna tell you, if you know Alex Jones or you know Alan Watt, if you listen to Farrakhan, if you listen to West Tardy, all 4 of those dudes have the tenacity of crazy.
Right.
And you need that tenacity.
But it doesn't necessarily mean what they're saying.
I don't have the tenacity of crazy. Because you need that, because I do comedy and I see the faces of people who just go out and party when they announce Bin Laden's dead. The puppets, the sheep. Those are people, a lot of those people come to comedy shows and it makes it difficult to communicate because you can say something that just will make somebody turn on you.
Right.
But this is the one thing that opened my mind up that I never move off of. The Federal Reserve thing ain't federal. It fucked me up to know that we pay a private loan by a private bank to our government who doesn't borrow money based on our wishes. We are fucking slaves to the bank. And everything else is believable. Once they tell you that the gold standard, you know what our standard is like? How we weigh our wealth?
It's a debt standard.
Debt! If you owe me 1,000, I want 1,000. Yes. But it's not real.
Let me ask you a question about the Alex Joneses of the world.
Yes.
I hate using that term, but there's a bunch of them. Aren't they bad for the planet?
Yeah,
So
but
why doesn't the government do a little something with that?
because
they're putting models up their ass.
yes,
I understand what Patrice said. If they say this shit, but they're so crazy when they're saying it, and so many people are like, oh, listen to this fucking guy. So they can make the lie better by exposing it and being crazy, because then you'd have to be crazy to believe.
Let me go with that then. So why isn't there a guy that doesn't put the marbles up his ass saying the same shit?
They all,
Hold on.
Like that Pakistani woman?
Well, I'm going to ask you, has there been a guy that didn't do it with putting the marbles up his ass, and what happened to that guy?
ready to open.
I'm talking about talk radio, not
Wait, ready?
I'm not going to
You just put marbles up your ass.
I think no matter, I can go, motherfucker, aliens is coming, you bastards! And you go, yes. And you go, I talked to God. That nigga's great. No matter what you say that ain't regular with the regular shit that the news is telling you,
you're saying
you're crazy.
But you're saying it to me. I don't know what I believe. I'm listening to you. It's very interesting. But you're saying it without putting marbles up your ass right now.
No, I'm not.
You're putting marbles up your ass.
Because someone's getting mad. Because here's the thing. Here's something that I've never said in public. I'm saying right now, and it scares me. But at least I'm here and I can get a chance to say it correctly. I'll never say it on Fox and stuff, but they'll just chop your head off and I'm evil. They always throw. So you don't support the troops, and people get fucked up with that. But I know the troops are not an entity to be supported. They do what they're told to do. So I'm not supporting anyone that gets killed in the line of duty and over there, and in their mind they're protecting me and your liberty. I'm saying that they don't do anything for you to support them. They just do the bidding of the banks and the government wherever they see fit. So if I say I don't support the troops, I'm not saying I don't support those people that are dying. You go, I don't support policy. And for people like on these news to manipulate that, knowing that they're intelligent people and they put that at you and they make you sound fucked up, you know that they are controlled by, because the banks own the networks and they own propaganda and they own it. So of course, if you take out the fact that you are racist, listen to Farrakhan. When Farrakhan talks about the banking system and what they do to the kids, he ain't talking about black, and he talking about, and he cries. This motherfucker starts crying.
But then
I'm showing his losing his mind because people won't.
But then Farrakhan puts marbles up his ass by talking about flying pyramids.
Yes, but he has told you 2 + 2 is 4. You can pick up a book and go 2 + 2 is 4. Yeah. But this motherfucker got marbles in his ass. but 2 + 2 is 4. Right. So you don't even have to really listen to him no more. All you have to do is get your math book and then go, wow, 3 × 3 is 9.
But it turns out, but a lot of people think of it in terms of like a witness in a trial. If you find any part of the testimony to be false, or you don't think
belief is circumstantial,
then you can throw out all the testimony.
Yeah, it's all conjecture. We're all repeating. I'm just basically parroting what I hear, and then with a little bit of research
and a little bit of your own intellect.
But what do we know?
I believe you shut up, Samba. You can't prove it. I just believe it.
Okay, let's again cut out the news.
I just believe it. I'm disappointed we didn't get to see that shot. Because it would shut up a lot of conspiracy guys, but the White House comes out and says, well, they'll always not believe.
And here's what this girl, a friend of my woman, she goes, she was in the army. The army's fucking her back. Don't give her GI Bill and shit. So she goes, well, if we didn't bury him, it would incite what? More anger? Like, the fact that Al Qaeda is supposed to be threatening us now with violence, they weren't yesterday before this motherfucker got shot.
There'd be more threats of violence. They hate us to the umpteenth level. They're on 11.
Osama got killed. But they went to level all shit.
Yeah.
They were just gonna basically kill us. But then, but
why raise suspicion in so many people?
Because it was a fucking
but he's dead. But you could find some kind of look like that at that point. And show a death photo of some guy.
Because
even if they release the death photo, people would have questions like, "Oh, that's not
the sophistication of technology fucks up this game."
But the government has shit. They're trying. Bill Burr says the government has shit we don't even know about yet.
Dude, I'm not talking about the shit we don't know about.
LBJ had an iPad, but
what I'm saying,
hold on. Because Bill Burr made a great point. He went to the Reagan Museum, wasn't it, or the library out there in California, and they have a part of his plane, Air Force One, where it had a phone up. Way before this technology was available for everybody.
That's not my point. That they have all this technology.
They might have other
technology. My point is this: the fact that we have it, fucks the internet. They are trying to destroy the internet. It fucks them up. Photoshop fucks them up. They can't treat you like complete dummies. They did release a death photo, and motherfuckers went, this shit's Photoshop. You think that was supposed to be the fucking yes. God damn it! These are 80-year-old white guys who are fucking still. So wait. Why we still wait? Why the fuck? With all this technology, we still depend on a rating system that one family is in control of 100,000. It's bullshit.
I gotta slow you down because your point is so brilliant that I want to just explore that a little bit. So you think something kind of like, all right, like let's just get this out there and see if let's see what they find. Oh shit! Someone found two pictures. That put together.
They looked at that shit. And Obama's birth certificate. Motherfuckers, technology looked at that and went, what the fuck is this shit?
That's just money.
I
got to take the other part of that. So if the government's so powerful, they would just find some fucking Muslim that kind of looks like him and then kill that fucking guy and then put that picture out there.
Really? And then
why not?
This
Why
technology.
Not? What happens then?
Oh, look at Valley Bertinelli. That's not really that. Dude, technology fucks with the
you think they threw that picture out open?
That was the picture. That was the death photo.
That was the picture.
And they thought they would just let us. And this is the thing that kills me about Fox and all that. They're not arguing. They're arguing. Why didn't we get to see the death photos? It's like, wait a minute, you're not questioning the fact that you had a Muslim burial for public enemy number 2 all time? This is public. If do you think we would have just? We still want to find him. We're still trying to find his bones in some shit. Him and Ava Braun, who supposedly killed him. And speculation. Do you think that they would just flush the of our time the worst motherfucker that ever was born? Yeah. They would just throw him in the ocean, and under the guise of having a respectful Muslim burial. Do you fucking believe that? You believe that? This is what I'm saying. The frustration is I can't move on. Fucking believe that?
Right.
As a person, just as a person who doesn't have a television, if I told you that. And I was me and you talking on TV, and I go, yeah, man, Bin Laden, moving on. There's a guy responsible for killing 3,000 people, and he wants to kill millions, and he runs the most sinister terrorist group ever created. This guy may be on par. He considers me on par with Hitler.
Oh, wow, that's fucking deep.
Found him, caught him, and killed him.
Whoa, great.
What do you do with the body? Throw it in the water.
This is your new set, by the way.
I love the fact that
a 50 minutes comedy. That's your new gig.
He's
but Danny says
kind of turning me.
No, but Danny says that death photo's been around for a while. So what's your take on that? Patrice rehashed after.
Well, that's what Danny says. That's what this is what I'm saying. This is about me. That's what I'm talking about. I discredit what Danny says. That's it. He discredit me. Who gives a fuck what Danny says? And not because it's Danny, but because anything.
Anybody says anything, you can just say no.
No.
And
that's the simplicity.
And people say, why are we beating up Patrice like we do Troy? Well, Troy Quora comes in here with questions, but it doesn't give us anything.
No, he gives us nothing.
Like Patrice giving us some stuff to think about.
Patrice has
that's the difference, by the way. I can't go with that guy on the phone.
15 levels of involvement with every subject he brings up. You could peel away the layers. He explains what he's talking about. But when you get somebody that comes in and just goes, yeah, the Pentagon was hit with a missile. How? Explain that when they were playing ball. No, they weren't. No, I was hit by a missile. You believe in everything the government says? It's like, but when Patrice explains things like, look, why the fuck would they take the biggest fucking criminal of our time and just throw his body away without anyone seeing it? No one saw it.
Like evidence that you
and they threw it away without at least, now think about this also. They took Jeffrey Dahmer after he was killed and examined his brain to see abnormalities and maybe things that could be worked on in the future. Wouldn't you want to check out Bin Laden's brain and see if there were abnormalities? Why didn't they do an autopsy? Hey, did he have those kidney problems? Let's cut him open and maybe see if this guy had some kind of physical, mental problem.
Have you heard this on Fox? What are you saying?
No,
I haven't heard that CNN. No,
they just wrapped him up and flushed him down the ocean like they flushed him down the ocean. I love flushed him down the ocean.
Here come the cops. Here come nosy people with their bullshit.
Quick, get him in the drink. Oh man,
I'm just saying.
You're getting me thinking.
That's all it is. And then you just go and you just look it. Basically,
I think the government gave you diabetes. They don't like this comedy guy.
If they want to get rid of me, I'd rather have AIDS and drop dead than have this shit. Because diabetes it has to be government. AIDS ain't government. Because diabetes is hilarious. Because if you say I'm dying of sugar, it just makes you smile. Like, oh, I'm dying of a fuck virus. It makes you scared to death. I'm dying of something that invades your body and destroys everything. Makes you go, oh, and I catch it by fucking. But to go, hey man, if you eat a lollipop, things go bad. Bubble gum, really? So it's maybe something like that.
We really got a break. Yeah, we got to take a break. I got Laszlo outside the studio. Yes, Laszlo. You also had the Larry King thing. Should we play it here or just save that?
Might as well save it.
Just save it for another time. Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay. Yeah. Patrice, you plug anything?
I'm in Florida at the oh shit, I'm sorry, man.
Jamaican.
Fuck
Government.
Big Mama Prods on Twitter. You'll be tweeting.
wait, but I'm wait. Marco's Island.
Marco's
all right.
Island.
That did.
Yeah, yeah. You guys do that. Oh, that place. Sure. It sounds like it's blessed.
I haven't been, but I'll get the name.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it out there. But let me. You want to see Patrice? It's been a while. Patrice O'Neal in studio. Laszlo next. Stay there.
Believe in.
What do you think they are then?
I'm thinking it's.
You know, some kind of like an Illuminati planning thing to make it look like they're
I
guarding
think
a lot.
that war, we're moving out of war, and we're moving into something else. We're moving into a world where they're trying to get you to be, it's a global fucking ruler, global ruling, the banks and everything else. And I just think they're moving a little bit out of war, because war is not the patriotic thing. War used to be necessary when we was cold and everything, but now it's like everything's becoming global. And I think they're just doing things to make it global, so they can just start implementing there. So
how does this do it?
It's like Arizona, man. It's just, well, it's easy. You just, a couple of fucking Mexicans, rape and murder a bitch in Arizona, and let people, whatever you call those fucking chapter 206 and rule 72 and fucking this, and let police. It's the fact that they're letting police now. Or Judge Dreads, man, like this. They can just be the law, and they can just tell you what the fuck to do, and then this douche, they're ready with their bomb unit in a smoky car that doesn't explode, and Bloomberg, who's a part of these motherfuckers, $7 billion motherfucker with his own network, and he's down with this shit, and he just goes, they up, and now they're gonna shut Times Square now, big fat bitch from Newark, gonna be telling me, give me ID to walk down each block.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, fuck you, I don't give a fuck, man.
It's a kind of a thing for a power grab.
I hate this.